The Mohammed Shami conundrum has been a major one for Indian cricket fans as well as, of course, the administrators and Shami himself. Now, Shami recently had claimed that he's been fully fit and that there'd been a lack of communication from BCCI, despite the fact that the chairman of selectors, AajTak, made it clear that all he had to do was play more to get into fitness. But playing more didn't necessarily lead to a call-up for the South Africa Test series. In fact, you can see now that they've moved beyond him potentially with the likes of Prasidh Krishna and now Akashdeep getting a call up for this particular series. Prasidh, of course, got dropped, but he did get called up for the West Indies Test, and Akashdeep is here as well. So what that means is that there's potentially no spot for Shami, but now we're also getting to hear from a new report that Shami was actually spoken to several times by the selectors and that he even refused to play a certain game, which is perhaps explaining why it is that he is currently on the outside looking in. In fact, this is a quote from a report to PTI where a BCCI source was quoted as saying that the selectors were desperate to get his services in England as Jasprit Bumrah could not have played more than 3 tests. So that's the thing. They were desperate to get him in for selection for the England series, and that is what led to them making this particular demand. They asked Shami if he would be okay playing one of the India A games against the England Lions. Remember, there were 2 matches that were played prior to the test series, and they said, look, you should try and playing either one of the games, but Shami actually refused to play either of those games, and the reason he gave for that was that his workload is not quite built up yet. He doesn't quite have the fitness to manage the workload of playing red ball cricket, so count him out for that particular series. And now what this does is really muddy the waters a little bit, in my opinion. Shami did say that there was no communication, but now the BCCI are putting out reports stating that no, there was in fact some communication. You refused to play that India A game. Now, either which way, there's multiple ways you can look at it. The way I'm choosing to look at it here is that if Shami felt he wasn't ready to play, then he had every right to refuse, and therefore he said that count me out for selection in this particular time. I need to build up my fitness. Now, however, he has built up his fitness. He's worked hard behind the scenes. He's played games. He's shown that he can bowl long spells. Why is it that he's still not being considered for selection? Is someone offended by the fact that he chose to go public? Are there deeper issues at play? Is he not being considered for selection at all? In which case, it would perhaps be better to tell him that, look, you're now beyond the scheme of things. There's a lot of issues to unpack here, and truth be told, putting out these kind of reports doesn't really help anyone. In fact, as I said, all it does is potentially muddy the waters. What could perhaps be a better solution is clearer communication, but we're not really getting to see that yet. You can let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this matter, and as always, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such updates from the world of sport.